Hello and welcome back to The Lost Planeswalker. You are here with me, Jesse, The Lost Planeswalker, and today we finally gotten word from Vault-Tec that it is time to start exiting just in time for the release of the Fallout Commander decks. This is the first Universes Beyond collaboration this year, and Fallout is one of my favorite games, so I'm very excited about this. So no matter if you're a newer fan or an original fan, there's something for everybody. So this video will be brief, and I'll try to cover everything we know and some things to look forward to for each deck. And an interesting note is that each deck has 3 colors in it, which hasn't happened since the New Capenna decks, a set of commander decks, each of them being a 3 colors. But this is a very cool set of decks, and we have a lot to look at. So starting out, we have the Hail Caesar Commander deck. There's Caesar, Legion's Emperor, and maybe Mr. House, President and CEO. I'm not able to confirm whether or not Mr. House is the co-commander in this deck or not. It doesn't really make sense in my head that he would be unless they're just releasing him anyways. But these are 2 very cool commanders that have a very different play pattern. Caesar, Legion's Emperor, reads, whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, choose to. Create 2 1/1 red and white soldier creature tokens with haste, and they are tapped and attacking. You draw a card and lose 1 life. Or Caesar's Legion Emperor deals damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. And Mr. House, President and CEO, reads, whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. If you rolled a 6 or higher, instead create that token and a treasure token. Then for 4, tap, roll a 6-sided die, plus an additional 6-sided die for each mana from treasures that was spent to activate this ability. Caesar, Legion's Emperor focuses around creature tokens, which is not a strategy we see a lot for in Mardu. Taking advantage of sacrificing creatures with death triggers, and then making more creatures, drawing cards, or dealing damage to your opponents is perfect and seems like a fun way to play this deck. Now, Mr. House, President and CEO, I don't know if he's the co-commander or not, but he is a completely different monster that can get out of hand very quickly when you remember that the D&D card has you roll D20s, and he doesn't specifically say whenever you roll a D6. So taking advantage of rolling D20s, you're going to be able to trigger both of his abilities much more frequently, and this deck gets very powerful and very much out of hand. And I'm not sure if WotC thought of this. I'm sure they had to, but I think this is the awesome way to build this deck, and I have a deck built with Mr. House in it, so if you want to check that out, I will put that in the description down below. But it has every card that cares about rolling a d20 that's really powerful as well. So the next deck we're going to be looking at is the Scrappy Survivors Commander deck, and this one is my favorite companion to travel the wasteland with, Dogmeat Everloyal. Dogmeat Everloyal reads, whenever Dogmeat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever a creature you control that is enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token. Dogmeat is another unique commander that focuses on using auras and equipment to make junk tokens, which are a brand new token type. Junk tokens read, token artifact junk, tap, sacrifice this artifact, exile the top card of your library, you may play this card until end of turn, activate only as a sorcery. This takes the best part of red impulsive draw, and then add greens and white, auras, and enchantments to make this a awesome and really powerful deck. A junk token is going to be something that I know we're going to see in all other kinds of decks, because being able to just get that impulsive card draw or whenever you sack an artifact, and the fact that it's free to sack just like treasures, is going to be incredibly powerful. This is a super fun card and is going to bring a lot of fun to this archetype. So the third deck we have here is the Mutant Menace Commander deck, and this is our newest commander and the most recent from Fallout 76, and we have the Wise Mothman. The Wise Mothman reads, flying, whenever the Wise Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. Whenever 1 or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So this builds up a wide board versus 1 creature, which is awesome because there's a lot of effects in green and blue that can double those effects. But what is a rad counter? Because this is a new counter that can go on players, which is incredible. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you control any rad counters, mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So this works not only for damage dealing, but it also mills your opponent's libraries. And it specifically says mill, which is even better. These counters can stack up, and this deck will definitely focus on building up these counters and milling your opponents out and dealing a ton of damage in the process. This commander seems like it could be built in a number of different ways and end up really cool and powerful any way you build it. And the last deck we have here is the Science Commander deck, and it has Dr. Madison Lee from Fallout 3. So Dr. Madison Lee reads, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get an energy counter. Pay 1 energy, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample and haste until end of turn. Pay 3 energy to draw a card, or pay 5 energy to return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Energy is not a mechanic that we have seen for many years, because it originally came from Kaladesh, and we just haven't seen any new energy cards since then. Energy is a super cool kind of counter that can be used to pay costs, and this deck certainly has a lot of potential, and I'm very excited to see what new and interesting cards we get out of it. Out of the 4 decks, I think the energy deck has a lot of really cool potential for new and exciting ways to build it. I'd like to see how the Scrappy Survivors and the Hail Caesar decks come together, because I think those are 2 archetypes that they're kind of bringing new life into, so I would like to see that as well. But I just think if you're going to go for power and power alone, the Wise Mothman definitely seems like the strongest. Not only is this the Mutant Menace deck that is just all going to be caring about you creating all kinds of the fun and interesting mutants from the Fallout universe, but being able to create those rad counters, deal damage without having to do anything, mill your opponents, and just potentially have board wipes and whatever else in your deck to, do other shenanigans, is going to make this the strongest and most powerful deck, in my opinion. And I'm very much looking forward to see what other cards we get from this deck. And, not comparing 1-to-1, but kind of looking at how this deck works, I think you're going to build this very, very closely to how Atraxa is built. Obviously, the #1 commander in Magic the Gathering right now, and I think there's going to be a lot of cool and fun pieces that are going to come from this deck and go straight into Atraxa. So now I'm going to look at some of the other new cards that aren't just commanders that are coming out in this set. So I want to show off Idolized, Nuka-Cola Vending Machine, and Radstorm. Idolized is a simple but seems very powerful enchantment. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of non-land permanents you control. So this is kind of an exalted effect where this creature has to attack alone, but it gets +1/+1 for each non-land permanent, which could potentially just end the game. You put this on a flyer, who knows how big this can be, and especially if it has trample or something, this could be a game ender by itself. Nuka-Cola Vending Machine is my personal favorite card because it works really well for the food token or food synergy deck, where it has 1, tap it to create a food token, and whenever you sack a food, create a tapped treasure token. Notably, if you play this with Samwise, the commander or whatever, from the Food and Fellowship deck, Sam already makes food only cost 1, so whenever you sack a food, you get a treasure. And then lastly, we have Radstorm, which is an instant with Storm and Proliferate, meaning that for any number of spells you cast before this, you're going to get any number of spells you cast before this, you're going to get that many copies of this card. Proliferate, like I said, especially in Atraxa, is one of the most powerful strategies because you can just proliferate infect counters and end up winning the game that way. And I think Radstorm is an immediate include in Atraxa decks and is just going to be a killer card and really going to make this deck worth its value. So a couple other cards that I want to show off because we're getting reprints of them with the super fun cartoon Fallout art is Arcane Signet, Crucible of Worlds, Sol Ring, and Wasteland. I believe there's also a command tower in there, but these are all the ones I believe we've seen so far. And honestly, there's a lot of really, really great stuff here. You have your commander staples with Arcane Signet and Sol Ring and Command Tower, but Crucible of Worlds and Wasteland is nothing to scoff at. Both of those cards, are running $20+, and that's a really nice box topper that they're offering with this set. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this, and I hope you're looking forward to this new set as much as I am. Fallout was not my first pick for, Universes Beyond, but this is one of my favorite games, and I think Magic can kind of throw a really fun spin on it. even though it's sort of Magic adjacent. You know, there's a lot of future tech stuff that, you know, Magic kind of doesn't dwell too much into. So I'm looking forward to this and seeing what cards we get in the next week or so. I also hope you will keep an eye out for my videos about these new cards and stay tuned to see more. Please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. You know, thank you for watching. Please comment down below on what cards you are looking forward to, or what cards you're hoping on getting. Is there a character or a theme in Fallout that, you know, they haven't shown off so far? Because I know that there's a ton of things I'm hoping to see as well. And yeah, I hope you can like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe just to see more Fallout content as it comes out. So now, today's Scryfall card of the day is Ravnica at War. The heart of Ravnica disappeared before anyone could strike a blow in its defense. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.